Right, seasoned veterans in college, so we'll let them give you some pointers.
Yeah, thank these guys for coming. There's two missing today that we're supposed to have. Wyatt Meyer was supposed to be here from representing HCTEA. He had to work. And then Gage Reel, we were hoping would be here. Gage, if you've been following a little bit, he's over in Korea, stationed there for a year. He was going to represent those that went the military route. So for the next 20 minutes or so, these guys are going to share with you what it's been like. We've got a series of questions Mr. Kearley had our seniors come up with. Some great questions here. We'll let these guys in with saying whatever they want to you about what you need to be doing to be prepared if you want to follow a path like they are. Your first question up there, guys, I need to tell people who you are. Most of the people know who you are, but there are some that are new this year. We want to know what school you're at, what you're majoring in, and if you changed your major. So Mason, start us off.
My name is Mason Thiessen. I'm currently attending Emporia State, and I'm majoring in business marketing right now.
I'm Michael Bledsoe. I'm currently attending Hutchinson Community College, and I'm currently majoring in general business.
I'm Reagan Snow. I'm currently attending HCC, and I'm majoring in engineering.
I'm Coy Light, and I'm at Wichita State University, and I'm studying aerospace engineering, and I have not changed my major.
I'm Macy DeWitt. I go to Fort Hays, and I'm majoring in communication science and disorders, and I haven't changed.
I'm Damian Rainey. I'm going to Pittsburgh State University, and I am majoring in biomedical and mechanical engineering technology.
I'm Bailey Eck. I'm at Kansas State University, and I'm majoring in ag economics.
Bailey, right back to you. What have you enjoyed the most about college?
For me, college, I've liked more of the freedom. You get to kind of go to class, do what you need to, and then you have free time. In my free time, I tend to be working quite a bit. I work around 10 hours a week. So my classes are pretty simple. You usually show up, and then there's some classes you have pretty good amount of homework. But other than that, you pretty much show up and you do pretty good.
Question for me, freedom, controlling your time management. I like to, with the homework that I do have, I do it as soon as I'm done with class usually, just because procrastination is kind of the enemy. So that's usually what I do with my free time.
Definitely. Make it green. Okay. Definitely meeting new people. I can walk across the hall to like my friends' rooms, and there's always something to do. There's always activities to participate in on campus, so that's a lot of fun.
For me, it's the freedom too. I enjoy just being able to go do what you want, that kind of thing. Although, having the option that if you want to go to class, you can. If not, you don't have to. Although you pretty much have to. So.
Yeah, I'd say freedom for me as well. Just getting to go to class and then not for however long. It's great.
I'd probably say the freedom for me as well.
I would probably just say not having to go to class all day. And there's you just go in and get your stuff done, and then once you're done, you are sent home with homework or whatever, but it's still better than sitting in class for a long time. No offense.
Sure. Mason, right back to you. What's been the toughest challenge at Emporia State?
Probably just the schedule with basketball and everything. Just how busy it is. We have breakfast at 7 o'clock every morning, and then you get done around probably 6 or 6:30. And then just having to do homework after that, that's probably the toughest part. It's having to motivate.
How long are your practices?
Usually 2 hours probably. And then weights or film after that, usually.
Just the hardest part of the adjustment? Probably having to study on your own rather than having a led guide and review in class. You're kind of more responsible for it by yourself. That's a lot different than it was in high school.
Yeah, I think procrastination has really hit me hard. Because most things aren't due until, well, at least in my classes, homework wouldn't be due until the test came, and so I'd have like 2 weeks to get several assignments done, and then I would wait until the night before at midnight. So
Yeah, probably the most difficult thing for me was just like finding time to do everything, especially like having moved out and all that. Like, it's amazing the amount of time it takes to like do laundry and eat food and stuff like that. Like, it just takes a large amount of time.
Probably not knowing what to expect. Like, your teachers don't tell you what's going to be on the exam, and so you have no idea what to expect from them until you take one. And so it's just, how do you prepare, how do you study, and then figuring that out.
With a school schedule, the hardest part is getting into a class that you wanted to get into, that you set aside beforehand. Usually classes fill up and you can't get in, so enroll as soon as you can. My own schedule, I use sticky notes a lot. I manage my time day by day. I know what I have due, and then I divided that out through the days throughout from that day I know it's due, the start date to the end date. So it's just not as heavy of a load on me throughout.
For me, I'd say it'd be studying, knowing what's on the exams and stuff. And then another thing for me, I realized, is keeping up with assignments, or keeping track of them, because sometimes they'll throw an assignment out there and you gotta just know it's there, or they'll send an announcement on campus and that's the only thing. So just keeping up with your homework is pretty much that, and knowing what to study for.
Haley, right back to you. This was from our seniors. I thought it was a good question. What do you miss from high school that you don't have in college that you tell students they better enjoy now?
I would say the friendships. That's kind of a major one for me. But other than that, I'd say mostly the friendships, and then the teachers, because you get to actually have a personal connection with the teachers. And when it comes to college, you just show up and, they teach and then everyone's gone. And usually if you know someone in the dorms, you're kind of, you have a buddy there, but if you're just showing up, you really don't know anyone, so.
What's your largest class at K-State, Bailey?
My largest class, I think, has 180 people in it, so.
Do you have to attend? If you're gone, does it matter?
There's an online lecture if I can follow along with, so if there's a reason I can't attend, I can follow along online. But it's a pretty good idea to attend. He goes through a lot of stuff in class than, just following along online, so.
I'd say the same about relationships here. You can have a personal relationship more with a teacher here than you can at a college setting. Also friendships that you build. You've got years here. It's kind of a small knit community. Showing up to classes with what he was going off of, I would recommend showing up as many times as you can. Don't treat it as soon as you start not showing up and thinking, oh, I don't need to show up to this, it'll just balloon, and by the end of the semester you might not show up at all, and that hurts your grade.
I would definitely say high school sports, miss that a lot. And then once it's easy to think oh, I want to graduate, I want to get out of Inman. And then as soon as you go somewhere else, you'll realize how truly amazing our community is. And there's nowhere else like that, so treasure it.
Yeah, I would also say high school sports, there's not really anything much like that at college, or at least that I'm involved in, and so I kind of miss that. Also, yeah, just knowing everybody. You walk around the building at high school, you generally kind of know everybody a little bit, whereas at college or whatever, you walk around, you don't recognize a single person half the time.
yeah, I'd also say I miss the friendships. Then I miss Mr. Fawn still a lot. He's very helpful. You don't get the advising that you can get from him at college. It's a lot harder to seek that out.
I'd probably say the connections and friendships and relationships you build in high school too is a big difference, because like Reagan just said, or Coy, you don't really know everyone in college, and high school it's kind of just everyone, and you usually get along with everyone pretty well, and it's a lot different.
I'd probably say probably the teachers, along with the friendships and sports, obviously, but having teachers that will help you out if you need to, if you need it in high school. a lot of teachers aren't gonna waste time on you when they have 100 other students in college. They're not gonna seek you out or anything like that. So just being able to talk to a teacher and get help and get one-on-one help if you need it in high school is definitely helpful for me, at least.
Mason, right back to you again. What would you say the biggest difference between JUCO and high school, state schools and high school academically is, or is there much of a difference?
I don't think there's that much of a difference. I mean, from what I hear, just talking to other people that go to like K-State or Hutch, it seems like it's all kind of the same. I don't know, like format of classes. Like the classes are all like test built basically, and there's a little bit of homework, but it's mainly just studying for tests and stuff like that. So you have to find
I'm going to throw a question in there for you too. You guys, we'd asked this from the seniors. Can you survive in college by showing up and listening to your profs without doing a lot of other work?
I mean, if you're gonna do throw the least bit of effort in, that's probably what you should do, is just go in and show up and listen at least, because learning it on your own probably isn't the best idea. So I'd say signing in, getting your attendance grade, and then listening at least a little bit would be a good idea to start out with, probably.
Yeah, I'd agree with a lot of what Mason said. I don't know a lot of differences between like classes being more test built and not as much built on homework. I'd say that a student could go to class and do the bare minimum and get away with it, but you'd be a lot more stressed out than if you would actually pay attention and take decent notes.
Michael, before we go to Reagan, we've got several seniors that are applying for an ambassadorship next year. What would you tell them about that at Hutch?
On your application, just really hype yourself up in your personal statement. They'll tell you to do that. So that's not just me saying that. And if you get an interview, just be honest. They're not very, judgy people. They're really nice. So good luck if you're pursuing that.
I mean, yeah, the classes are more test-based. They don't really focus as much on homework. I don't know. I don't really think you could just show up to class. Physics is extremely hard, and nothing makes sense. So you need to read the book as well. That's all I got.
I agree with it's based a lot more on like the tests and stuff, but that can be good in some cases. Also, teachers are a lot less friendly than like you're used to at high school, so that's a bit different. And as far as just showing up to class and passing, it kind of depends on the class. Some of the classes, I mean, yeah, that will probably work, but other classes, you're definitely gonna have to put in more effort than that.
I had a world geography class that I thought there was 40 people in, and then on the final, 70 people showed up, and I'm sure they all passed. I mean, I had a few classes where you could have not shown up at all and then came on the final and took it and got a good grade. I didn't do that, but some people did. So yeah, it just depends on the professor and what their course load is like.
The majority of my classes had 5 tests, and that's all it was based on. No homework points. Each test was worth 100 points, and that was the end. So you studied for your test. Showing up, there was the grade points for a few of my classes. If you showed up, that was a big part of your grade. So if you didn't show up, your test would hurt even more. So it builds an average for your grade. If you have more points in towards the end that are good, and then you do bad on a test, it helps even that out. It gives you more of an average, so larger denominator, something out of that would give you a better chance to hold a higher grade.
Yeah, I'd say most of my classes are mostly test-based, and I mean, you can get by. Some of my classes, like the attendance is basically all it is, so if you showed up, you can do pretty good. But I mean, most of my classes, they take attendance on the daily. They have some sort of thing. There's a clicker or there's an app that you can use to sign in. And attendance can be a major part of the grade. So if you don't show up, you're kind of in trouble. So.
Bailey, what's a typical day at K-State for you? When you get up, when you go to class?
My normal day usually starts around 8:30. My first class is at 8:30. I don't know why I chose 8:30. I'd rather sleep in a little bit, but I kind of wake up at 8:30. I go to class, and it's kind of spread out throughout the day. I usually get out of class around 2:30, and then from there I go to work, and I work until 5:30, 6 o'clock, or whenever it gets dark. And then when I get back, I usually, come back and work on homework and study, and then kind of just hang out with friends in the dorms. So.
I'll base this off my next semester. I have my first class at 10:30, so I generally get up at 7, eat breakfast, go to class, and that'll run through till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'm done for the day. I can use that time. The next day I'm pretty light, so I'll use my time the next day just to work on homework and whatever few classes I have left.
Yeah, my earliest class was like 9, and then I had 9:30 and 10:30. So I get up and then go to class, and then I usually take a nap every day, and then I go to work.
My typical day this semester was I'd get up at like 9:30, and then it kind of depended on the day from there because I had labs 3 different days a week this last semester, and then plus work. So it just kind of depended on where the week was at, how much homework I had. So that was kind of my typical day. Although next semester I have an 8:30 class every day, so that'll be less fun.
Mine also kind of depended on the day, but my first class was usually either 9:10 or 9:40, and then I had like an hour and a half between each of my classes, and then I would get out either at 3 or 4, and then after that I'd go to work, and I'd get out around 10, and then go home, wait a little bit and do my homework, and then go to bed.
My day usually started at like 9:10 or 9:40, like Reagan said. That's usually when Hutch classes start, or 8 o'clock. I just got lucky and didn't have to take any 8 o'clock classes last semester. And then usually I'm at the college till about 1, or the latest I'm usually there is about 3:30 because I have a lab that day. And labs will either be like early in the morning or pretty late in the afternoon. But yeah, after that I'm free to study.
My average day was, my earliest class was at 9, so I would go to breakfast in the morning around 7, and then I would go back and either nap or study for a test if I had one coming up, and then get up around 8:15, go to class at 9, and then at 10 I'd have an individual workout with one of the coaches, and then 11 and 12 you have class again, and sometimes at 1. I think one day I had a class at 1, Mondays I did. And then practice 2 till about 3:30 or 4, and then film from about 4:15 till probably 5:30, just depending on the day. And then that was pretty much it. I would just go back and study or sleep after that.
A lot of you have referenced this already, but one of the other questions, do you have a job? Do you have time for a job? Mason, you probably don't.
I do
Right,
not have a job.
obviously.
I
Yeah.
don't feel like I have time for a job right now.
Yeah. Michael?
I definitely do, but I currently don't have a job, in between jobs right now. But with the ambassadorship at the college, you do have to go back to the school during at least probably like twice a month to do team meetings and then help with like recruitment and enrollment days, and that usually lasts most of the day, so that's not a good excuse, but.
Yeah, I have a job. I have time for it.
I have a job. I don't really have time for it, but I have it.
I also have a job, and I work probably 25 plus hours a week sometimes, which is a lot, plus 16 hours of classes. And I also come home and work when I'm home. So I would just say that if you were going to look for a job, I would definitely look on campus first, just because they're closed on the weekends, they're done at 5, and then you get all the university breaks off and you don't have to ask. And so yeah, I work off campus, but I do like my job, but I would definitely look on campus jobs first.
Coy, are you on campus or not?
No, mine's technically not on campus, but they're pretty flexible. I just have to work 20 hours a week. It doesn't really matter when I come in to do that.
Okay.
Just as long as I get 20 hours in, they're good.
Okay. And Reagan, are you at Chili's? Okay.
I do not have a job. I work on my off time, probably in the summers, over break. I don't recommend getting a job if it threatens your school greatly, because that's the reason you go to school is for a better job. If it's threatening that, then there's no point. I mean, find another time or a different job.
I do have time for a job. I work around 10 to 15 hours a week. I work for a landscaper, so I basically just mow lawns, and at this time of year we're picking up leaves, so I mean it's not the funnest, but it you know, gives me a job to do and something to make money with.
Next question, one, I think you either go yes or no if you want to expand on it. Would you say college is more expensive than you thought, or is it kind of what you figured it was?
Yes, college is definitely more expensive.
Yes. Is this thing working? Yes, it's more expensive, and Amazon has been a lifesaver for books for me.
Yes. I spend my entire paycheck. Sorry, Mom. I know she's watching. But yeah, so I would have a job because then you're just losing all the money that you made in the summer.
Yeah, I pretty much spend most of my paychecks too. It's expensive living in college.
HCC is pretty nice. I'm not paying anything, and then I also have a book scholarship, so I didn't pay anything.
HCC is very affordable. It doesn't really give you a good idea of how expensive college will be if you move on to another place, but as far as Just Hutch goes, it's very affordable.
Can I ask you, Michael and Reagan, did you guys get your money back from the classes you took here? Because I know we always tell our seniors that, and I hope that that comes true every year for you guys. Mason?
Well, I'm not paying a ton, but I'm still paying to go to school and play basketball there, but I'm just glad I'm not going to K-State or something like that.
All right. Back to Mason. We know the answer to this, Mason, but answer it anyway. Are you involved in any extracurricular activities? If so, compare them to high school.
I'm involved in basketball, and I didn't join any other clubs or anything the first semester, but I don't know. As you guys all assume, it's more busy than high school basketball, definitely. It's everything you do, it feels like ties into basketball. So you got like class checks, mandatory breakfast. You have to like hand out grade sheets, grade checks. You have those like probably every 2 or 3 weeks. And then you also have like academic coaches. So your coaches kind of take a few of your players and make sure you're submitting all your things on time and stuff like that. So it's just, everything kind of feels like it revolves around basketball, but it's nice to be able to actually go to class sometimes and focus on school too, to get away from it. So.
I'm an ambassador, and I'm also on a leadership scholarship, and the reason I bring the second one up is because you have to do 20 hours of community service if you are on that scholarship. You just have to help pretty much any nonprofit organization in Reno County. And I did a lot of that out at Sundance Farms with Jack Dirksen, shout out to him. Just like fixing fences and cutting down tree lines and stuff, so we don't really have any of those things in high school, so it's not that different.
I didn't really join any clubs. I mean, I guess I'm part of like the honors program, but I would definitely suggest joining them because you'll meet a lot more people.
I'm a part of Innovative Shockers, which is like an engineering group that works on some different stuff. But other than that, between my job and school, I'm pretty busy and don't really involved in much.
I have a job, and then I'm in a learning community, which you do activities through that, which is just basically like the group that you live with, and that's who I take my freshman seminar class with. And then I'm in a club called NISLA, which is the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, which goes along with my major, and you meet. I would definitely suggest joining the club that goes along with your major if you go like D2 or D1, because that's how you meet a lot of the faculty members that you'll work with in the future, and then also like people who are further along in the program and can give you insight.
I'm in the marching band and I'm in a engineering group that is specific for my degree.
My first semester, I didn't really get involved in any extracurricular activities. I kind of wanted to figure out what my schedule would be like. I did sign up though for like K-State Ducks Unlimited and then the Ag Econ Ag Business Group, just to kind of see what they're up to. And then if I have time, usually my work schedule doesn't work with me, but if I have time, I'll try to attend a meeting or go to an event or something like that.
Thank you, Bailey. Last round. Best piece of advice you give these guys?
I would definitely say take as many college classes as you can your senior year in high school. That helped me a lot. It saved me a lot of money too. And another thing, like develop a good study habits because those will definitely go with you when you go to college. I was a pretty good studier, but I definitely had to kind of get better at it with some of the exams I took this past 2 weeks, and then even this week. I can't really think of anything else.
What are your final stuff?
Yeah, there's at least 3 of them that are pretty tough. Of course, some of them are easy. If you showed up to class, you knew exactly what would be on it, because pretty much some classes you show up, they'll pretty much go over the exact final with you, just not knowing it. So if you show up to class and review pretty well for the final, you'll do pretty good.
Strategy studying. So certain classes, say if you're struggling with a certain class, study specifically for your tests because that's what your grade is based off of. Studying to learn is good. I recommend it. But if it comes down to it, your grade matters for your money.
First, don't go home every weekend. That's how you meet people, especially like the first month or so. Like that's when everyone's like looking for their friends and like looking to make new people. Meet new people. So if you go home every weekend, you'll miss out on that. And next, to get to know your GAs, those who are actually doing the grading. And so I would definitely get to know them. Especially, I had my communications teacher actually, like English was like his 4th language that he learned, and it's really hard to understand him. So if you have professors like that, definitely get to know your GA. They'll really be helpful. And then, yeah, definitely take classes through HCC in the summer if you need it, or even like take a class while you're not at HCC, like at the same time, especially if you know that class is going to be hard. I'm taking 2 classes through Hutch this summer, and it just gets you ahead.
If you're going to take calculus in college, make sure you take Mr. Parsons' calculus class. Also, make sure you check your syllabuses. I missed an entire assignment and showed up one day and didn't even know I had a test. So make sure you check your syllabuses.
I would also say take as many college classes as you can in high school, as well as take calculus for Mr. Parsons, because you'll know everything that's in like Calc 1 in college. And then do not procrastinate. So like whenever you get an assignment, try to at least start it when you get it. Even if you don't finish it, at least get started and it'll be helpful for you. And then try to get to know people and your professors, especially if you are at like a smaller community college or just smaller college in general. It'll be really beneficial to get to know them.
I'd say just develop some good study habits, because in high school, your teachers always hold you accountable and remind you if you have an assignment not turned in or an upcoming test, but in college, it's not like that. Your instructors don't keep you accountable. It's all on you. So you can fall behind really easy if you kind of just slack off and don't pay attention. And then just enjoy the time you have left in high school.
I'm kind of going to piggyback off what Damien said. He said a lot of his stuff was test-based. Like most of his classes, he said he had like 5 tests and no homework or anything like that. I've had like probably 2 classes like that have just been like 5 tests. They take your highest 4 test scores, including the final, and there's like 20-some pages of notes. So whenever you're taking notes in Kierley's class, just try to give get as good of notes as that you can. And I wouldn't just study to memorize them. I'd more study just to learn the material, because a lot of the questions you get asked aren't going to be memorization type stuff. It's going to be like the concept, if that makes sense. So, and enjoy it. Just enjoy college. That's what I'd say.
Well, shout out to you guys. Thank you for coming back. I know, given that time. Give them a round of applause. It is lunch.